people make you laugh. Oh yo yo, my ego don't come. Oh yo yo, and people make you shout. Oh yo yo, my ego don't come. Oh yo yo, my ego don't come, man of the masses. Oh yo yo, my ego don't come. Oh yo yo, my ego don't politico. Oh yo yo, my ego don't come. Oh yo yo, this man not dey off in mind. Oh yo yo, my ego don't come. Oh yo yo.
Hello there.
Mayegun la wa mo la mo dododo. Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Good morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. This is Mayegun Live.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one. Lórí Facebook, lórí YouTube. Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one. Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Mayegun já wa sí.
Thank you so much for joining me again tonight from wherever you are watching from. You know, good morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you as usual. Please share this broadcast. Invite your friends. Invite your not so friendly friends. Tell them, Mayegun today.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun diary politico. Mayegun diary, Godfatherism. Kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Mayegun, Mayegun diary, ẹ fara balẹ̀ sẹ́ o kẹ́gọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu. Mayegun diary, àní Mayegun làwa mọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun diary,
Thank you very much. Share the broadcast, read the caption, read the description of this video as well, and drop your offering, which is like the broadcasts.
And yes, lórí Facebook. And yes, lórí YouTube. And yes, ọba bá gbé wúrẹ́. And yes, ijó ìgbádìyẹ.
Abdullahi Adamu, which is now the former chairman of APC, national chairman of APC, squandered 32 billion naira, the money they realized from the sales of form. That is actually not why they even remove him. Including Omishori. Why we all know that wherever insecurity lasts longer than 48 hours, the government is involved. This picture on your screen is that of two criminals caught by the Nigerian army somewhere at Owodeyewa in Ogun State. And these guys were carrying ammunition that is over 20,000 rounds of ammunition. And guess where they were headed? They were headed for Eastern Nigeria. So for clarity, one is Ghanaian, one is Nigerian. The driver is Nigerian, and his name is Lukman Sani. The owner of the ammunition who brought brought them into Nigeria is a Ghanaian. His name is, if I pronounce that right, by the way, Eric Sewavo. And these two people were caught with this ammunition on your screen headed for Biafra land. Motide, Ekule, good evening to you, good afternoon to you, and good morning to you from wherever you are watching from. It is Mayegun live. The writer for this broadcast is cut out from the statement made by Shettima. Knowing the fact that Shettima has always been a suspect, an active suspect in the terrorism that enveloped the northern part of Nigeria. It started from that northeast, where Borno, where he was governor of the same state. Somehow, in the course of a 10-year campaign of terror of Boko Haram, they have brought so many of their leaders to prominence based on the level of terror they perpetuated. One of them is named Kabiru Sokoto. It will never go away. You know, the relationship between Shitima and Kabiru Sokoto is just like the relationship of a sponsor and the criminal. Let me explain. When the terror of Boko Haram gripped Nigeria about 10 years ago, the criminals behind this were actually people known in public in northern Nigeria. They appeared to be clerics, like Islamic clerics. One of them, Kabiru Sokoto, the guy behind the Madala bombing, the Christmas Day bombing in Abuja, he was arrested for the crime. He was being prosecuted for it. Then, shockingly, they transferred another security guard, a police officer, to protect or kind of guide him. And he escaped. He was declared wanted. Interpol, Exterpol, Interpol, Outerpol, all of those security, whatever, they raised his name as red flag. This guy was away from the grip of the authority for months. When he was finally caught, he confessed that where he was caught, which happened to be the Borno State Governor's Lodge in Abuja. Guess who was the governor of Borno State during that time? Kashim Shettima. So while they were looking for these terrorists that committed this terror, they escaped or arranged escape, the same authority or a part of that authority was actually shielding him. He lived comfortably. He was driving about in the government convoy, like governors' dedicated convoys. The most wanted terrorist was roaming about like he was never wanted. He was being protected by the same security men that were supposed to be looking for him. That was how Shitima became a prime suspect, among other things. All right? So this is why when they are talking about giving power, like state capture, kind of, right? Criminals who have taken, or lunatics who have taken over asylum, criminals who have taken over the pen, exactly, the drug lord and the Boko Haram sympathizer. So when he made that statement, I'll tell you what he said, because it's pretty much like, the usual. He said, the crisis in northern Nigeria, especially to end Boko Haram and terrorism, they don't need military operation or military solution. Meanwhile, when Kolu appointed his service chiefs, Lagbaja, Mr. Lagbaja, the General Lagbaja, that is in charge or appointed as a chief of staff, made a public apology to the governors and politicians in northern Nigeria that he personally is not kind of in tune or comfortable with this amnesty nonsense. You see, this Operation Safe Corridor that Bokwari put in place for repentant terrorists, no matter the crime they've committed, once they hands up and say, I repent, including the children they kidnapped, sexually abused and put in family ways, raped, the Nigerian government under Bokwari gave them red carpets as repentant terrorists. So this new Lagbaja said, the governors who are shielding or providing some sort of support for these criminals, for these terrorists, and using different techniques to shortchange them, the military, in actually pursuing the terrorists. He appealed to them publicly. He said he's begging them to please hand off. Now that's Lagbaja, a political appointee general. The second in command, the man that publicly once said that Kolu was going to undo economy, that is, Tinubu will handle economy. Shettima will handle security, something that never happened before. He muted it and he publicly said it. Somehow, Lagbaja will probably have to figure out who his master really is. That's another convo, right? So Shitima said, the reason why the terrorism up north is so high is because of poor education. It is because of poverty. And Tinubu's government, according to him, he says Tinubu's government is not going to use any military solution. So what Tinubu's government would do is to invest in northern Nigeria, in education, in infrastructure, in poverty, fighting poverty. In his own words, so in quotes, the crisis we have in the north or in the northwest, further accentuated by poverty and social exclusion, is something the president is determined to frontally confront. And in the coming weeks, he is going to unveil the solution. Unless we want to engage in an endless war of attrition, there cannot be a military solution to the crisis in the northeast and northwest. There has to be a kinetic and non-kinetic solution. President Bola Tinubu, in the next couple of weeks, will unveil the Pulaku solution. Pulaku solution, which will address the grievances and social exclusion of our Fulbe cousins, the Fulanis, in the northwest, towards addressing the root causes of all the banditry and insurgency in the nation. Now, let me tell you this. I can't remember where I read this, so sure you get. But it's like one fancy quote that has remained with me for a very long time now, right? And that is, it's about politics, okay? So politics is actively played by politicians. Politicians are people, or easily defined, as the unusual kind of people, okay, that would create a problem, and then they will offer to fix the problem. That means they will create a problem, then create a solution, their own solution. Now, in the process of implementing their solution to fix the problem they created, they will create more problems. So therefore, you are going to need more solutions. And that is why politicians are called dirty. It's just that in Nigeria, they are more evil. Okay? Now, why did I say that? the terrorism that has enveloped the part of northern Nigeria is completely politically motivated, among other things. Exclusion, or simply put, marginalization, okay, is something that you can say we are not in any way included in the governance of this country. We are not included in the provided benefits of being part of Nigeria. Let me rephrase that, okay? When you talk about marginalization, especially when it comes to what Nigerians are battling today, poverty, terrorism, underdevelopment, joblessness, and this and that, blah, blah, whatever people are going through right now, you will honestly you will honestly agree with me that no part of Nigeria is spared. Okay? If you are talking about insecurity, if you are talking about poverty, if you are talking about infrastructural decay, every part of Nigeria is marginalized. Okay? But what hasn't really happened yet is that not every part of Nigeria that is marginalized today has picked up guns, arms, and started killing and kidnapping people because they are marginalized or excluded from the benefit of being Nigerians. Does that explain it better? Now, when politicians who have been part of that marginalization, exclusion, okay, who have had opportunities to actually impact the lives of their people, millions of them, but rather they have, destroyed every fabric of humanity that could have indeed sustained these people. Humanity in the sense that from the people, from the leaders themselves. Empathy, sympathy will make you feel like if I take this thing away from these people, millions of people will suffer it. And when poverty spreads, crimes increase. So if you are somebody who cares, you would have possibly not be so heartless towards them, Abi. So when did you now see the criminals who have contributed to this marginalization from the northern Nigeria to southern Nigeria, from all these 6 geopolitical zones, there is nowhere spared of all the abnormalities, absurdities that is bedeviling Nigeria today. Nowhere is spared. So when politicians now come out to say we need to kind of pay attention more to these people who have resorted into what they called banditry, insurgency, which is, to be simply put, to terrorism. So imagine, for example, all Yorubas from every part of Yoruba land, who has been facing the hardship, the abject neglect, decay that they have been living with for decades, if they have to express their rage by picking up guns and move down east and start kidnapping and killing people there. And the Biafrans, who have been so marginalized, like documented, like everyone else, by the way, now pick up arms and move down north and they start killing and kidnapping people there. And also the northerners, who have also kind of faced so much marginalization and poverty, they move down the middle belt and they start killing and kidnapping people. Then those who are in the middle belt move down southwest Yoruba land because they are also marginalized and they start killing. So what kind of country would you have that time? Banana Republic, Abi? That's exactly what you already have in Nigeria, a banana republic. So, Shettima, in 8 years of APC, Egbekegbe, Bokwari did not build one single school dedicated to catering and educating the out-of-school children in any part of northern Nigeria. Not one single school. No. Boko Haram did not create any single recreational training center in 8 years that in any part of northern Nigeria to kind of engage this youth. No. Are you following? In their 8 years of a bloody terrorist infested regime, more than 8 million Nigerians ended up in refugee camps. And guess what? More than 6 million of them are from northern part of Nigeria, Middle Belt. It will shock you. There are also refugees in south part of Nigeria. No joke. So under them, there was no single housing unit built by Boko Haram's government. Good enough. Zulum, that one was able to build different units of housing and all that. That he actually relocated those who were victims of Boko Haram. To some of them, I give him that credit. But for 8 years, in fact, when they attempted that they wanted to rehabilitate and resettle and regain of the refugees, the victims of Boko Haram. That was when Babashir Lawal became the grass cutter, remember? Over 200 billion naira of your money in a space of 6 months gone down the drain of trying to rehabilitate refugees in northern Nigeria by Babashir Lawal. The famous one is that he used 242 million naira to cut grass because snakes were killing people. Snakes were attacking and killing refugees who are sleeping on open fields. They are sleeping in abandoned schools. And they were begging to feed. While they were on the street begging during the day, Babashir Lawal in Abuja awarded 242 million naira to his own company. He continued to deny it, but this was the attempt of Boko Haram. They were supposed to build thousands of houses. They never built 10. So the whole thing, the whole charade ended that. Then they created what they called sharing money. 5,000 naira to the poorest. So they will go to those refugee camps. They see how those people were living. Nothing was done. Their children were being openly kidnapped and raped. They couldn't fight. The Shettima saw Boko Haram expended billions, hundreds of billions of Nigerian naira in rehabilitating those who put those people in those camps. Those who obstructed their lives, turned children to orphans, turned women to widows, men to widowers. Nigeria government under Boko Haram was expending billions of naira rehabilitating those terrorists, and they were celebrating them. They were celebrating the return, and in fact, they bragged that the success of their rehabilitation has seen over 152,000 repentant terrorists. Ladies and gentlemen, 152,000 repentant terrorists. But yet, terrorism never subsided in Nigeria. Never stopped. Continued to escalate. So this guy came and he said, the reason why the insecurity is escalating is because Nigeria has done nothing to help those poor people. Can't he just say that APC did nothing? Rather, they used them. And it is the turn of Shitima. They will use them. Operation Pulaku. Operation Pelaku. Operation where they are going to now select some of the terrorists, legitimately give them guns. Okay? And they will say they are providing security. And they will be doing the exact thing that these terrorists are doing. All they have to do is to say they suspected that this community is a terrorist community and they will invade there. This time around, nobody is going to come in and fight them. And nobody is going to challenge them because they have this insignia of the federal government of Nigeria. In Plateau State, they put something together. They call it a Rainbow Security. Okay? Rainbow Security Team. So that rainbow is like vigilantes, community people, retired military personnel or security personnel who came together to form a kind of a rainbow vigilante group. Okay? So the men they formed that under Bukwari, they became so much target. You know what happened? Every time they go out to go and confront those terrorists, those Fulani terrorists, the men they go back, you see all the communities, they are contributed to that rainbow, whatever. Their details, their information are already there with the terrorists. Those communities, they will come back and then invade. You know what I mean? And in the last 2 months, they have killed over 500 people in that same plateau state. Reprisal like that. So when you have somebody like a Shitima, who is probably going to be sitting and laughing at the rest of you when, you know, I don't know how this is going to play out. I just thought you should know. Whatever it is, they would not, there's going to be a coalition. I mean, what's collusion cause? Is that collusion or whatever? They're going to clash. Okay? And Shitima, who believes that he is representing, you know what I mean, the interest of the jihadists, as some of you have already suspected. Like he said, in the coming weeks. We'll see how that plays out, right? Now, going to the next one, you see, I have told you many times, and I continue to believe my theory, okay? You see, one thing about Nigeria is this. If you have been around for a very long time, Nigeria politics or Nigeria system, or should I say establishment, all right? It is full of shit. And it is all color of shit, kind of. And what do I mean by that? They are the kind of people that always use the same kind of pattern in everything. But most of the time, because Nigerians have this sickness, it is Stockholm syndrome. Only few people have been able to kind of surmount that, unfortunately. Because when you look at how those who have been in charge of Nigeria in the last 10 years, how they have operated, it won't be hard for you. Or should I say, it won't, it won't be hard for you to tell, all right, wherever their actions or whatever, when things are happening, to tell where they are coming from and where this is headed. Somehow, I'll give you an example. Normally, some of you will love, or should I say, some of you will kind of be easily deceived with their different jerseys, okay? And you say, this one is Arsenal, this one is Barcelona. They are just playing football, right? Okay, we know this, we know, you know what I mean? Oh, this one is APC, this one is PDP, and the other one is Labour Party, or NNPP, or any other one you know, right? And then you look at them and you're like, they're almost the same thing. You know, like, or should I say, no, not the same thing per se. Like, you kind of feel like, you know, if somebody who is a Nigerian politician, right, historically, he's been everywhere. And then probably was in PDP, then he turned around and he changed to APC, okay? Or from APC, changed to Labour Party, you know? So there are people who can easily just say, well, they are different kind of people, and you can give it to them and say, it's no longer there, it's now here, and vice versa like that, But for somebody like me, no, I don't see them that way. I see them for who they are. And when they begin to make all their moves and all that, I don't fall in that category of people that will say, this is surprising, or, oh, this is shocking, or somehow we say, oh, I believe them. It is different this time around. Okay, maybe I'm speaking in circles and circle. I'll tell you. Whenever Nigeria system want to punish you, all they need, here you get, all they need is just something that they can just cling on to. That will be the selling point. For example, the system in Nigeria, the criminals in Nigeria, they have managed to sort of win the narrative control, where if they say you are a criminal, they expect a portion of the population not to question what makes you that criminal. Whether you being criminalized is because of the political interest of some certain people, or if you're actually a criminal. So in this line, if the political interest says you should be criminalized of anything, or maybe if I say something now, right, and they look away because they don't have political interest in me, and you say that same thing, and then almost everyone wants to fall over you, and you're asking yourself why? Like, didn't Mayegun say the same thing? Why are they coming after me? It's because if the interest of the political, this political few, if their interest is in any way kind of bruised by your position, so they can put the narrative together whereby the entire security system will declare you wanted for a crime you didn't commit, or you have just offended some people. Okay? Now, this same kind of mindset also play out at a larger scale when they want to wield political or kind of direct political narrative to commit larger crime. Again, let me rephrase that, or let me re-explain that for you. If they want to deal with me as an individual right now, okay, they can come up with anything, and the entire security system will make it look like they're actually doing an investigation. For example, they can say, I have been sponsoring some people on terrorism, that they are going to attack some prominent people in Nigeria. And you will see their DSS, NIA, the police, the military, and all kind of security, what have you. They will be sharing my detail. That detail that somebody just wrote together and said, I have a camp in Ogun State. I have 10,000 people. I have brought guns in. Meanwhile, I have done nothing. It's just because the interests of some political people, or should I say, my view, sort of bruise the political interests of some certain people. So they will put a profile on me. Do you get that? And they will make it look like they're actually doing investigation. Before you know it, they will start arresting some people. They will start manufacturing evidence like phone calls, text messages. You know what I mean? Things that will make the narrative look like, wow, I didn't know that Mayegun get that kind of thing. Oh. Then before you know it, right, it will look like, oh, it is real. That's individual. If they want to stage that same level of up against, for example, against the people. Let me give you another example. When the young people came together and they outlined their demand to fight against police brutality and assaults, their demand and their reason for their protest was well laid out, very clear. But when the establishment tried to break them, bribe them, and it didn't work, what did they do? They started putting profiles together about them. They started talking about interest group who are funding them. They started talking about some political whatever who are sending more. You know what I mean? They started making, and before you know it, Central Bank of Nigeria froze their accounts. They started going after individuals, companies who are offering support to the protesters, NSAS. That's how the establishment work. And before you know it, the military were called. And killing them around that time, they said if they didn't kill them, or kill them at Lekki, or kill them all over Nigeria at that time, that there are some people who wanted to put Nigeria into civil war. And they put a fake profile together to want to prove that and direct that narrative. You remember, that is how states, that's how these criminals, for their political interest, can also use this same mindset to set the entire system against their own people. It is also very similar to when, for example, you have seen the terrorists all over the place. We know that those who are shielding them, protecting them, are those who are also saying they are going after them, no doubt. The politically motivated insecurity in eastern Nigeria, which suddenly started gaining traction again. And I can tell when something is so coordinated. And that's why I said, Stockholm syndrome that a lot of people suffer from, I can't cure that. But maybe constant reminder, will keep it at your own subconscious mind. Whenever they bring out all these lies, it will be easier for you to check all the MOs, okay? In eastern part of Nigeria, there is a popular, well-funded federal government, state government, well-funded campaign against the IPOB. A lot of you, that's why I gave you one example the other day. I said, do you all remember when they came after the NSAS people? And they made you believe so much, like what they were asking for was to destroy Nigeria, and all of their demand, including when they mobilized thugs to destroy government properties and blame it on you. You saw all of that, and you saw them repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating the same thing that didn't happen, right? I said, if you have been a victim of NSAS campaign, Nigerian government campaign, where they demonized you, criminalized you, and they were able to turn the mind of some portion of the population to believe everything they said, even though they were not blind, they saw everything, but they still believed the narrative of these criminals to justify the killing. I said, if you have been victim of that, genuinely, you should not, by any means, entertain or give life to most of these propagandas against IPOB. Politically sponsored, politically motivated, insecurity in Eastern Nigeria. The media and they want you to believe that Eastern Nigeria is unlivable. That's deliberate. But who do you hold responsible for the security of life and properties other than the government? Now, the government, who has, turned around and used the same instrument of states to commit terrorism in Eastern Nigeria, and they are putting up different stage of drama and all what have you to make it look so real. And I know I may not be able to convince you. I'm not here to convince you. I'm just here to kind of ask you to see through the MO. Sure, you get. So I said, if insecurity or crisis should last longer than 48 hours in any part of Nigeria, then it shouldn't be difficult for you to know that the government is behind it. Now, if the same insecurity lasts for years, of course, they must have been making a kill from it. But the campaign against Eastern Nigeria is on a different level. What they want to achieve or prove, I don't know. But here is something. The amount of weapons that are flooding into Nigeria by smugglers, you can say, can best be imagined. Okay? However, how these weapons are finding their ways into the hands of different terrorist groups across Nigeria shouldn't also be a surprise. I have seen where the military officials, soldiers, police, and the rest of them have been involved in this same gun running, right? But when they say, when you leave the people who are responsible for your security, let me give you one example. About 6 or so years ago, we had the campaign for Scottish independence. Scotland, which is part of United Kingdom, decided I wanted to leave. Now, the campaign came, the voting happened, and then the Remain won. But you know what? During this whole period, there was never a time that the right, the statute that actually bind this kingdom, United Kingdom, together was ever altered. People were allowed to express their own democratic belief at the time, and whatever happened after will determine what will happen later too. Okay? That the Biafrans, the Ibos, will never drop Biafra. Even though there are some Ibos that will tell you Biafra is dead, Biafra is dead. But the truth of the matter is this: the marginalization that led to the first civil war, genocide, no matter how much Nigeria tried to bury it, the marginalization has kind of gotten worse now. It has worsened. Okay? They haven't built anything that is in any way Nigerian to say it involves or includes the Igbos. If you want to confess to yourself, okay? Now, you can say all things. The Igbos should be this, the Igbos should be that. It's all coming to the one thing that you agree. The Igbos have been completely excluded. But there are those that believe that the Biafra is bygone and bygone, whatever. Now, if you are one of those who believe that Biafra is bygone and bygone, all you want is a better Nigeria, not a place where everybody is equal and the rest. Here is where you are mixing it up. Because you acknowledge that the marginalization is still there, it's also for you admitting that Biafra is not gone. Okay? So, the fact that the Biafra is not gone, until it hasn't kind of been made official, agreed, okay, that simply means the democratic right in a democratic system you are practicing in Nigeria. There are some people want Biafra, some people want Yoruba nation, some want Kwarafa as their own democratic right of expression, does not deny them the right of protection, the right to life, the right to freedom of movement, the right that act like every other Nigerian. And as a government, you hold them that responsibility to keep them safe and protect them until they are no longer Nigerians. Is that not what it should be like? But in this case, the effort of the rulers of Nigeria is to continue to kind of prove to the rest of Nigeria that until the Igbos kneel down, hands up, and accept wherever box they want to put them, okay, and stay there like everyone else, they will show to the rest of Nigeria that Igbo land is not safe. But it's just campaign, okay? Those who are smuggling these weapons to Igbo land, they are those who are coming from the other part of Nigeria, like this. Mr. What do you call him? Mr. Lukman Sonny. Abi Mr. Isaac, the Ghanaian, Malians. Because, you know, as these guys were apprehended on what they call the tip-off, maybe they didn't pay the normal bribes, okay? The Niger Republic National Guard, they call them. They say Niger Republic National Guard Patrol. They also arrested, they arrested 2 individuals. I can't bring their picture here. I didn't put that up, right? They arrested 2 individuals, okay? And they were arrested with 9 AK-47 guns. Somewhere around there, they were smuggling them into Nigeria to go and see the swap. So what I'm saying here is this. If those who are hell-bent in trying to prove a point that doesn't really exist, I want to show you this. From the security reports, you know, in the first quarter and especially second quarter of this 2023, if they stop shipping ammunitions, smuggled ammunitions, if they stop, you know, sending murderous soldiers to eastern Nigeria, there is actually absolute nothing that makes eastern Nigeria unlivable. In fact, it is actually the most peaceful in this second quarter. Second quarter means April, May, June. Eastern part of Nigeria is the safest part of Nigeria right now. But the campaign may never take you there, all right? And I hope some of you who are living in eastern part of Nigeria will indeed speak out more, show people around, show things, because, you know, the impression that they are funding in Nigeria is that everybody in eastern Nigeria is IPOB. And that's why one commissioner they sent to Anambra. Imagine this weapon or this truck of weapon they are taking to Anambra. I mean, taking to eastern Nigeria. It was headed for Anambra State. What did they want to go take and do for Anambra? To go and hand it over to Asari Boise and the unknown gunmen, Abi? Or what? And how many of those trucks have already entered Anambra before this particular one was caught? So you guys need to kind of, you know, speak out more, I'll say. But let's go to the next one. The next one is the news of APC. Egbe. Mind you, without forgetting this. So if we still believe that for those who genuinely are interested in this new changing phase of Eastern Nigeria, I'll tell you one story. Remember when they started this their what do you call it? This their ethnic religious politics, and they started going after the Ibos. And I was saying something that I said, listen to me. What I see, maybe I didn't see anything, but anyway, what I believe, where I believe this is headed, this hatred that they have now nationalized against the Igbos, that they have now weaponized for political, what have you, to the point that even after elections, they are still going after your businesses. That it was good for those of you who really have investments, okay, to begin to divest your investment, return them back to the Eastern Nigeria. I mean, put this myth to an end once and for all. Okay? You have managed to prove a point that wherever you are just like seed. Okay? When they believe that they are burying you, you are just going to germinate and produce and become something that they will become so scared of. Kind of all this begin to divest before you start losing your properties. Now, you will lose your properties to demolitions. You will lose your properties to withdrawal of your certificates here and there. You will lose your businesses to demolitions and all of that too. So it didn't take long, because I said these guys are not going to stop, because they're going to push it one way or the other and say they're going to have another election. So if you want to have another election again in Nigeria, with what you have witnessed so far, it's going to be worse when that time comes. My Lagos, not your Lagos. These guys are worse than what you can imagine. Move your investments. Okay. Some people, and I said that is not going to make us the Yoruba land like you kind of believe that Yorubas are going to suffer. No, nobody's going to suffer. All right? Everybody's going to feel the vacuum. But what will happen is that everyone's going to be respected. And in this case, the Ibos are not asking anything from Nigeria. They're just asking to be allowed to breathe like everyone else, I would say. Abi? So if you move and you prove your point, because you have what can actually make you an envy of the rest of not just Nigeria, Africa too. And I actually outlined all of those at the time. All right? Some people actually took that. In fact, people have been doing that before the election. After that election, a lot of people have started kind of moving them for real. Some are putting up their properties. They are putting them up for sale. I want to sell this. I want to sell that. They are moving back to the Eastern Nigeria. Some of these Eastern governors too. Well, Abia, for example, they are already offering land for those who want to come back. The other states like that, you have seen people from other parts of Eastern Nigeria who are now pulling together resources. They want to build a channel. Channel from that same River Niger, okay, to Onitsha, to the heartland of Delta, straight into the Atlantic Ocean, so that they can begin to actually take whatever goods they want in Nigeria through their own seaport, and a channel that march straight into their territory, eastern part of Nigeria. They are developing that already. I have seen it. So I was on Twitter a few days ago, or yesterday precisely, and somebody was like, in case if people don't know, what this APC, Egbekegbe anti-Tinubu's xenophobic jihadist Yoruba, Egbekegbe, what they did in that election is already affecting the, what do they call them, the property market right now. Right? Some people who have clients who are mostly Igbos, sure you get, or who have Igbo clients who pay well. They came to online, they said some of these people are now, who have shown interest in some properties that they had to sell, that they are now saying, no, I'm not interested. Like many Easterners. You know, one thing, it's not just Easterners now. You know that when they outside, once you cross that, what do you call it? Anybody from that, everyone from the Ore, Ondo State part, upward to this lunatics, APC, Egbekegbe, the Lagos Abobakus, all of you from that Ore upward, you are considered as Ibos. Whether you are from Edo, whether you are from Delta, even if you are from Akwa Ibom, you are from Bayelsa, Port Harcourt, it doesn't matter. So these, relics, these cretins, you are all Ibos. And so many people got the message. So they say the property market in Lagos right now, for those who are there, they said that a lot of, I'm not saying all of them, Ibos will still probably buy it anyway. But if you are in that market, you probably can tell us. They said a lot of them are now kind of saying, no, I don't want to. If you have properties anywhere else, maybe like Abuja, Port Harcourt, or all these places, I will be interested. I don't want to buy anything in Lagos anymore. So those who are in that, and I said, that's how it's going to spread. They should continue their xenophobic agenda for political exigency, political gain. You continue that, but, and continue to hurt yourselves as much as you want, right? But let's go to this one. The criminals. Some are saying that the property market has crashed. Maybe not yet. But if you are in that market, if you want to be honest, you can tell your big clients, the big paying clients who pay commission very well when you help them find properties or anything they ask you to. A lot of them are now saying, don't look for anything for me around the Southwest. I would like somewhere between, you know what I mean? They are already looking at that, and they are not just Igbo, so they are people from eastern part of Nigeria, and those who are also from the Niger Delta, as they would love to be called. They are all reconsidering. And like I said, maybe not all of them. Now, you see this man on your screen is the first to kiss the dust in what is called the cleansing of APC. Now, just for like a simpler break, few days ago, Adamu Abdullahi, who has been accused of mismanaging over 32 billion naira, money they realized from this bazaar sale, the ridiculous sale of presidential forms and all forms for the 2023 elections. Also, it was considered as the guy who was behind the cabal, or should I say, who was leading the cabal that was trying to stop Tinubu from becoming president or winning APC tickets. This guy took 100 million naira from 18 people that Tinubu actually gave money to go and buy form in order to saturate the entire process. Do you remember? They said about 25 people bought, 50 or so people bought APC presidential form. They were buying the form like for people. It was like bonanza form, 100 million naira. So that 100 million naira, about 18 of them, now Tinubu gave them money to go and buy the form. Not because they are interested in being president or anything or contesting. So, which means Abdullahi Adamu collected about 2 billion naira for form alone from Tinubu's pocket. And he still worked against Tinubu. He had the audacity to come around and say it was the rubber stamp Lawan that would be the anointed candidate of APC. So when this all said and done, few days ago, the guy who was probably hearing or kind of sensing what was coming, he granted this interview. Arise News owns the credit to this video, by the way. Just watch this. I won't drink tea.
I think that is a soft selling point for you media people. I say it with due respect to all of you. It is true, and I don't take that back. I don't deny the fact that at the time that I made a presentation to the National Working Committee, yes, the name of distinguished senator, Senate President, as he then was, Ahmed Lawan, was proposed for the presidency. That was before the convention. So many things took place between then and the actual date of the convention. And once he was nominated at the convention, unanimously, and I was there, I led the convention as chairman of the party, A day after the convention, I took the entire Ibos National Working Committee to his residence in Asokoro here in Abuja and assured him of our support. We assured him we will stay shoulder to shoulder with him. We'll do everything that we can to ensure that this mandate that the party has given him, is sold properly, effectively, to the general public, the general populace, and the general electorate. We did so when we started the campaigns. We went all around with him. We faced the election. I was privileged to lead the party right up to the end of the election, and we delivered a successful election in favor of our great party, the APC. We are the winners. Now, instead of appreciation, instead of showing understanding, and maybe, if you permit the word, even praise for what we've done, rather we're vilified. This is the time for people to say, it's not happening. They want the account. They want the annual, annual account of the party. They want this, they want that kind of stuff. I was taken aback because, you see, if nothing else, I expect my fellow countrymen, in good faith, no matter their political persuasion, say, yes, at least we led this party to success. Who can't wish that away? We have a president, he's inaugurated, he has commenced his administration, and he has hit the road running. Both well-meaning Nigerians and supporters of the party and our president have been full of praise for the performance of our president. We, as APC, produce him. I have had the privilege of leading that. And I have not had any period of misunderstanding with him since the convention, since he was elected. Now, every political party anywhere in the world, before a convention in a presidential system, you can hold an opinion. Why not? Every one of us is free to so do. But once the party decides this is it, every member of the party, a loyal party, follows. And that's the process. We are no exception. That's what we do in Nigeria. But some people decide to make that a soft selling point and something to hit at me as an individual. That's left to them. I know what I'm doing. And for your information, I have enjoyed a good working relationship with President Ahmed Tinubu GSFR since his inauguration to date. In fact, since his election, there's nothing I went to him to talk to that I didn't give his attention or didn't share my thoughts.
Story. That was the moment Adamu knew that something was coming. If there's anybody that gave Tinubu almost high blood pressure, it's not a Mefiole. No, it's not a Mefiole. It is this Adamu. I even sang a song then, if you remember. I sang a song then. Anyway, sang a song. The Adamu, Adamu mi, Adamu, Adamu mi, Torito Badamu mi, Adamu. Ọlọ́run Adamu Adamu. Everyday meeting. Breaking news. Tinubu may be disqualified. In fact, the Bokwari's anointed candidate will be announced by Friday. Bokwari has the party leadership have chosen another anointed candidate. Every time he got to a stage, Tinubu was shouting, Buhari, Buhari, say it again, Buhari, Buhari. Remember that time? It was this Adamu. From information we were told, or information we gathered that time, Lawan was only interested in contesting to become a senator again. And they started looking for somebody. They have been doing a lot. Sorry, I'm kind of somebody who is a revisionist. So I need to take you back a bit for this story to make sense to you. Okay? When Bokwari became president, there is this Kaba who went after Tinubu. it started from when he was kind of feeling powerful, and a lot of people were going to him that maybe he will influence them he will influence Buhari to make them ministers. So Tinubu was writing names of his own ministerial nominees. So when he sent that to Abuja, Abba Kyari, who collected the list, just rolled the list, like he rolled the list with tobacco, and he used it to smoke in his office. So that list never existed again. So when Bukwari will announce his ministers list, they were those who were nominated, those from the Southwest, so they were those influenced or nominated by Ibekunle Amosun. They didn't stop there, all right? It was humiliation even within the party, to the point that Tinubu had to run away from Nigeria. Equatorial Guinea, from Equatorial Guinea straight to South France for years. Okay, for 3 years. Around that time, Bukwari and his cabal, as we used to know them, they were reigning supreme. APC was almost in tatters. The country was already in smoke. Bukwari was like a vegetable. It was mostly away. The whole thing was a mess. And they wanted to push Bukwari for second term. They had to go and bring Tinubu back. When they brought him back, they made him the reconciliator of APC, the one that will now bring everybody fighting themselves. El Rufai was demolishing the houses of his fellow APC senators. If he's not demolishing the houses, he's arresting them or banning them from visiting Kaduna, even though they are member of the same party. So Tinubu came back. And to take the job, what did Tinubu ask for? He said he must be given the chance to control the party. And in fact, back to the 2015 gentleman agreement, that immediately after Bukwari will support him to be president too. Sure you get. So if that's going to be the case, they will have to hand over the party to him. He would have to nominate the party chairman. That was how Oshiomhole became the APC chairman to represent Tinubu. And that was how so many others who represented Tinubu and other guys too. So to win that, to rig that election, and make Tinubu be like he's in control. So immediately after the 2019 election, the northern cabal of Bukwari, they resurfaced again. This time, they want to be done with Tinubu once and for all. So at first, they went for Oshiomhole, to the point that Oshiomhole was disgraced out too for this Adamu to come on. They knew that Tinubu was putting together his own structure in APC that will work for him or pave way for him to become the APC candidate and eventual president. That was how he planned it. But immediately after 2019, Oshiomhole became the fall guy. And for a very long time, somebody who was governor was also the APC chairman.